phone scams, phishing scams. How many times a week, even a day, have you been receiving emails from crooks trying to steal your information or money? We'll be discussing all that. Also in this program, the migration situation. Nearly 100,000 asylum seekers have made their way to New York City, and there seems to be no end in sight. Reverend Paul Glover will join me later to discuss all this. I'll also be talking with Nanda Probhakar, Executive Director of the Opportunity Hub. However, we begin with those dangerous phone scams, email scams, phishing scams. How do you protect yourself from these and the people who send them? Wesley Paul, welcome to Brooklyn 45.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for having me.
Let's talk about the dangers of opening, clicking on these emails or on your phone. How dangerous is that?
Today, a lot of companies, as well as people in general, are collecting a lot of data. Thousands of emails are being sent per hour. Hundreds of pictures are being captured and saved per minute. Data is very valuable. So in terms of how this would impact a company, and then I'm going to go into how does this impact a person, right? It's very dangerous. If someone clicks on something that's phishing in a company, you can render the company in a lot of danger. It could be a program that someone has sent that's going to be malicious. It could get into the environment. And why would someone want to get into a company's environment? Two reasons, right? As I mentioned before, there's a lot of data that's out there, and that data is the new gold. If you have healthcare data that can be used for marketing, for resale on the market, that's even more, it's probably more popular or more advantageous to have even than financial records, because you can just make a residual money off of reselling it to multiple locations, multiple people, multiple bad actors, right? Another way a company can be impacted is through ransomware. This happens almost every year. Someone would come in, you would click on a program, the program would execute and start encrypting data that a company is using. And the only way to get away and have that unlocked is to pay a ransom. So you get the encryption key, the decrypt key, and uncrypt it. That happens, it's real. And when that happens to a company, you're talking about possibly losing millions of dollars. And then also the reputation of the company is also at stake. So people don't want to hear that their data is being held captive through your company, right? So company-wise, you definitely want to protect it. You do not want to click on anything that could be malicious. And hence, that's the sort of danger that you have, the risk that you have for a company. Now, when it comes to personal emails, I mean, what do we usually use our personal machines for? Finance, budgeting, maybe even taxes, that sort of thing. If you get caught by clicking on a malicious email, that's what's at risk, your identity, your banking information. You don't want to get tied up.
How do cyber criminals find you?
Yeah, a few ways. For the most part, when we go to stores and we do online shopping, what are we using? We're using our email, we're using our credit card information, and it's actually being stored at another company's database, right? So we're entrusting it with that company, our information, your home address, your details. If you're out there asking for, let's say, a new credit card or applying for a credit card, you're going to give your personal information, right? And that personal information is stored on their databases, right, and their infrastructure. If that's not protected and that gets cracked, that's how they get it, right? So they're always pinging, they're always trying to, to get into companies' databases and get that information. So that, for the most part, that's one of the ways. That's one of the major ways.
For the viewer, what should they be looking for? Now, you are an IT director. In fact, you're an IT infrastructure director. So all this is firsthand knowledge for you. For people who are perhaps like me, what do we look for?
Some of the things that you want to look for is if you're looking at an email and you're not sure who it's from, some of the key giveaways are misspelling in the email, incorrect grammar in an email, something that is just not right, where you have some common letters versus capital letters, that sort of thing. Those are the things you want to look at if you're getting an email. If you're getting a phone call, it's going to be someone that's asking for a confirmation of who you are. Can I speak to that person, even if you answer the phone, right? A cold call, just asking, hey, this is so-and-so from so-and-so's insurance company. I know that you're looking for this. If it doesn't sound right, just hang up. From out of the country or states that you're not used to getting calls from, those are signs that this might not be correct. This might not be right. You want to question everything. So you really want to be careful on two accounts, whether you're getting emails, whether you're getting phone calls. And another thing you want to do is something that's very common is where you use your credit card. One of the worst things you can use is a debit card. Don't go using your debit card in places that you're just not sure of, you're just not secure of. You don't know what they're doing with when they scan it. You want to be safe and use your credit card.
PHISHING. What is that?
Yeah, well, it's almost the same thing, really. So phishing is you're out there, you sort of reel out there, and you're trying to catch something. So it's sort of the same thing in terms of the meaning behind it. So they have it with a PH instead of just a straight F, but it really means the same thing. You're really trying to capture and get somebody out there when they're not looking. For example, I can give you a phishing example that came across as a phone call. So someone had called one of the ladies that I know and said, hey, this is your grandson calling. I don't want you to tell dad anything, but I'm in some trouble. I got into an accident. And what they did is, when they first called, they said, Brahma, it's your grandson. And the person said, yes. And they said the grandson's name. So that's phishing. They tried to say, hey, is this a grandmother? Do you have a grandson? And they said, yes. So they caught that person. Then they continued on with the line, right? And the line was, listen, I got into some trouble. I'm going to need you to send some money because I need to pay to fix this car that I got into an accident in. And immediately, they're playing on the emotions of a grandparent, right? Oh, well, don't worry, I'm not going to tell your father, I will help you. And this has truly happened, right? And I've heard people actually get this call and they've fallen for it. So this is what phishing does. The same thing can happen with mail, regular mail. You'll get emails. They'll say, hey, this is from so-and-so's church. We'd like you to donate X amount of money for the cause of, X, Y, Z. Again, preying on the kindness of people to go ahead and help. That's another way that it happens. A third way is also, via email. You get an email, you have that information, or phone call.
What are some of the signs that would tell you that you are a victim of this phishing?
You get increased phone calls, increased emails. During Amazon has this time of year where they'll have their Amazon sale, and during that time you're going to get a lot of phishing, right? During Christmas time, you're going to get a lot of emails from Amazon that'll say, "Listen, your package has not been delivered. Click on this." Right? You start seeing that. So a lot of these attempts also are timely and seasonally around the season, and they'll try to capture the consumers who are unwary.
And sometimes the actual email looks fishy, not PHI fishy, but fishy, looks unreal.
It looks very legit. It could come across with something saying, we have some money for you that it has been unclaimed. And they'll pressure you and give you a date and say, if you don't click on this or if you don't respond in a certain period of time, it will be lost. So they also apply some pressure on you to try to quickly respond.
What types of scams are there? I know there are phone scams, but there are also romance scams.
Romance scams, probably the two biggest ones. And again, one that I mentioned before about a package being delivered. You know, right now in this day and age, you know, a lot of people are not going to brick and mortar stores. You're ordering something online, and deliveries are coming via many different forms. And you're tracking deliveries by DHL, UPS, even the post office. And those are the type of emails that you'll get. And the scam behind it is, listen, click on this link to track. And then of course you'll do that. It's not legitimate. And then a download is coming to your computer. And there you go. Something is installed and it starts tracking. It may be there for months, but all you need to do now is then log into your bank account. It's going to capture your keystrokes. And there you go. You'll have someone else that can log into your bank account and start taking money from your account. So it's very dangerous, very, very dangerous.
We've only got a minute. What advice would you give to the elderly in 50 seconds?
Screen your calls. Don't give out any information. If you're unsure, ask the person for a name and number, and you will call them back. That's about the best thing that you can do. And then you can also go and validate and verify if the calls are true and legit.
Wesley Paul, Information Technology Infrastructure Director. We want to thank you for being on Brooklyn 45 and for the information that you have provided.
Again, thank you for having me. Thank you for having me. It's been a pleasure.
The migrant crisis in Brooklyn. What's being done to help these people who are very often called asylum refugees? Joining me to talk about this migrant situation is Reverend Paul Glover. Reverend Glover, welcome to Brooklyn 45.
Thank you, Brother Sam. Thank you.
You've been working with these migrants. Tell me, what kind of work have you been doing with them?
You know, we prayerfully began to just ask the question, what could we do? And so last year, we became very intentional about inviting some of these migrants, asylees, and refugees, you know, into community here at Flatlands. Specifically, you know, we invited them to our Thanksgiving Day meal, which was where their, you know, families were able to come and we were all able to eat together. We also invited them to our Christmas toy giveaway. and we invited them to participate in our community tree lighting, which was a community event. We've also done clothing giveaways. Uh, my wife and I personally have, you know, personally adopted a family. And so, we've taken them shopping, made sure that their children have things that they need. And so just generally, trying to love on these individuals who have made this very arduous and difficult journey. Because when you think about it, most people really do not leave their home country unless there is some pressing reason. Probably the greatest obstacle, their home country, to the lack of stable housing. And then in some of these facilities, they don't even have cooking spaces. And so that in and of itself, obviously poses significant health challenges, emotional challenges, and yeah, it's just not a very pleasant situation.
What are the language difficulties from your interactions with these migrants?
Well, you need to have a command of the English language in order to navigate anywhere in the United States, and especially in New York. Even though New York is, I believe, one of the few states where um, there are significant opportunities and people who can speak multiple languages. There's multiple translations on the transportation system, and in hospitals and things of that nature. But when it comes to the educational setting, because of the transitory nature, the educational system really isn't set up to handle, um, the numbers of children that are constantly coming to them, where they're able to get the English language skills that they need. And so then you have that's one issue with the children. Now you also have the difficulty with the parents, where a lot of the applications and the forms that they're asked to fill out, they need translators. And so it's very difficult to, to translate something or to complete something if you really don't understand what it is that you're being asked to complete.
Now, you've been working with these immigrants outside of your church. What organizations have you been working with? I believe that you also established a not-for-profit organization to assist you in your work or to make your work smooth.
Yes. So one of the blessings of Flatlands, Flatlands Reformed Church, is we're small, not tiny, but small. And so when you're small, you really do have to be intentional about collaboration. And so we have been intentional about collaborating with different community-based organizations, the Haitian Centers Council, um, Utica to Flatbush, and some other civic groups. We've also created the Flatlands Community Partnership, which is a resource organization. So we secure resources and then we redistribute those resources, to persons who are in need. Yeah.
You distribute the resources.
Yes, sir.
What kind of resources do you distribute to these immigrants?
Well, food is one resource. Certainly clothing and toiletries, just basic things, really. You know, we also provide, Metro cards for transportation purposes. Working with HCC, there's immigration services. Most recently, we've been providing opportunities for labor, for people to actually work and, to make some money so that they can provide for their families. Of course, because they don't have the credentials, we've had to kind of be a little creative, using gift cards and things of that nature there in which to compensate them. But the bottom line is it's about restoring and honoring human dignity.
Yeah, that's very important. That's very important.
Right.
And we want to congratulate you for the work that you're doing with these migrants. Reverend Paul Glover, thank you for being our guest here on Brooklyn 45.
Thank you, Sam. Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
If you are a student or parent or friend of a student, you must listen to my next guest, Nanda Probhakar. She is the executive director of the Opportunity Hub. Nanda, welcome to Brooklyn 45.
Thank you so much, Sam. Excited to be here today.
What is the Opportunity Hub?
The Opportunity Hub is a community-based organization. We're a nonprofit. We're based in Starrett City, Spring Creek Towers, out in East New York, Brooklyn. And what we are is what we sound like, a hub for opportunities. We're a multi-service organization providing services like literacy education, after-school programs, job readiness, college readiness, financial empowerment, case management, counseling, health access, and community events and activities for residents here at Spring Creek Towers, as well as our surrounding community.
Why did you decide to establish the hub?
So this community is incredibly vibrant. Starrett City, Spring Creek Towers, you'll notice that I will say both because people from Brooklyn know this community as Starrett City. However, it was renamed Spring Creek Towers. This community is 50 years old, a large affordable housing community, and did not have an existing sort of social service hub or social service foundation here. So we have a huge community of 15,000 plus people who are part of this city within a city who were in need of services. And this came from a desire and an expressed interest from our community members themselves. Every service that we offer, we have come to and we have developed with community in mind. And in fact, 2/3 of our employees are current or former residents of the community we serve.
Oh, that's awesome. I took a look at your website and I saw Dollars and Degrees, your guide to educational finance. What is this all about?
So that is a wonderful workshop we have. And you know how it is with young people, you got to make it sound good. So we couldn't just call it the scholarship workshop. We had to call it Dollars and Degrees. So that is led by one of our college advisors, Devon. And what he does is work with young people and families and introduce them to all the different kinds of financial aid and scholarship available to them. So that's public funding, private funding, and then also introduces them to the idea of how to do this research on their own. So the hope is that we are not only sharing information, but empowering our community members, in this case, specifically college-going youth and their families, to be able to do this research on their own. However, our doors are always open, and Devon always uses that opportunity to then continue to work with these families and young people to say, do you need help with your essay? Is this the right scholarship fit for you? And how could getting a better handle on funding your education really open the doors for you for the kinds of institutions you're exploring?
It is awesome that you're getting the parents involved in their children's education, because we don't hear a lot of that in the Black community. We know that is a practice in other communities. So I want to congratulate you and commend you for doing that. What is the relationship like between your organization and the parents?
Positive. I'll be honest with you, certainly we're all people. We have all our personalities and our preferences, but the relationships we have with parents are overwhelmingly positive. One of the programs that we offer is an after-school program for 13 to 17-year-olds. which runs 3 to 7 p.m. Monday through Friday, here on site in the lower level of the Brooklyn Sports Club. And we have wonderful conversations with parents when they come across our services. We are hearing from parents that they're just so thankful that there's a safe space for their young person. We're hearing from them that, as you well said, that sometimes they don't know, right? You don't know how to find scholarships. You don't know how to go through the college application process if you've never done it yourself, or even if you're like some of us who haven't done it maybe for a couple of years. Things have changed, and that we're there to really be a support and a help for them. And generally speaking, what we hear about is the culture that we create. So what I mean by that is that we are not in the business of telling people what to do. We're in the business of hearing what people want and figuring out how to meet those needs. And to also be aware of the fact that we don't know everything either. So if we're not the right resource, we'll connect you to someone who is.
You are creating a great culture. So congratulations on what you're doing in the community that you serve. And people can get to you through your website. You have a website. We're going to put it up so that our viewers can see the website and they can get in touch with you, correct?
That is absolutely the case. We also have Instagram because we are in the world of social media. So we are at the Op Hub. That is our handle.
Well, again, we want to thank you, Nanda Probhakar. I got it right.
You did.
Yes, the Executive Director of the Opportunity Hub. Good to see you, and great having you on Brooklyn 45.
Thank you so much. I really appreciated your time and this chance to share a little bit about the work that we're doing.
We also want to thank you, Reverend Paul Glover and Wesley Paul. And to you, our viewers, we thank you for watching this program. We invite you to partner with us and tell others to watch the program as well. We are a 501c3 not-for-profit organization. And when you support us, our viewers benefit and you benefit as well. So be a part of what we do here on Brooklyn 45. On behalf of our team, I'm Sam Taitt.
Brooklyn 45 is a 501c3 not-for-profit, and we welcome your support. Check out our website, brooklyn45.com, and feel free to donate or share it with your friends and family. Have any comments or questions? Send them to our Facebook, facebook.com/brooklyn45tv. If you have any questions or topics you think we should cover next, shoot me an email over at brooklyn45tv@gmail.com. Thank you again for watching.